Call me a worm the way I want to make my way into your Adam's apple. But anyways, hello everybody and welcome to Escape from Wormwood. If you don't know what this game is, you probably do know the author. Whether you're a very big fan of like itch.io games or if you're Markiplier, because Nom Nom Nami is like, here, let me go over here. Yeah, Nom Nom Nami has been a game dev for a very long time. I think their most popular title is definitely Bad and Theater. But if you've been on itch and you've been just, perusing games, you probably know her from the Syrup the Ultimate Sweet series. And we don't talk about Night with Timber. Anyone who knows what that is, do not say anything. But anyways, we're gonna be playing their newest game, Escape from Wormwood. I haven't heard literally anything about it, and I just wanted to play it. So let's go in. When you come to what? When you come to, I guess consciousness. You're in a strange and unfamiliar dark room. Your stomach aches and you feel nauseous. Thick ropes bind your chest tightly, but they aren't the source of your pain. You remember now. Several days ago, you left on a research expedition into the rainforest with two of your colleagues. Forced to do a little foraging on the way back, the three of you ingested some berries that you were sure now were poisonous. Your colleagues sit beside you, unmoving. The air smells like metal. Do we already have a choice? Try to wake the others. I'll check my surroundings first. You squint hard, willing your eyes to adjust to the lack of light. You almost guess that it must be late in the day, maybe even night, if not for a stream of light tracing a single door frame. A small window sits in the upper center of the door, papered over the grime and dust. The bars over it remind you of a prison cell. The room itself is rather sparse. A large wooden table stands in the far corner against the wall near the door. Beside the table is a pile of things. You can't exactly tell what this pile consists of, but it might be your belongings. The floor beneath you is damp, with dark puddles that your mind refuses to register as blood. These puddles ebb towards a grated drain. If you were to vomit, which you feel very inclined to do, you would guess that it would be drained as well. Think about how you got here, try to wake the others. I'll think about how I got here first. To help stave off your panic, you try to think of everything you know for certain. You're an anthropologist. You came to a foreign land to study ancient civilizations and learn more about the various cultures of the region. Accompanying you on this journey is your fellow researcher whose work you've admired for years, and a cultural expert who is supposed to act as your translator and guide. Unfortunately, this expert had faked his credentials, leading you to believe that he was far more knowledgeable than he was actually. Soon enough, it became obvious that he had gotten two of you completely lost. Then there was a physical altercation that resulted in losing the bulk of your supplies. Three of you, now fighting for survival, had decided to risk ingesting what seemed like perfectly safe berries. You succumbed to the poison, lost consciousness, and woke up here. I guess I'll try to wake you up. But first, let's save. How do I return? Pete! Pete! You whisper urgently to the witch beside you, but she doesn't respond. Squirming against your restraints, you attempt to lean your head on her chest to listen for a heartbeat. After a few moments, you're sure you can hear one, faintly, despite the distracting pounding on your own chest. The current state of the rat beside her is something you won't be able to confirm for yourself. The door suddenly opens, startling you back into an upright position. You shut your eyes tightly to shield them from the harsh daylight. A masked being has entered the room. Hello. ... They approach. Your eyes remain locked on them the entire time, but they move past you and over to the rat. Their stature is that of a child's, but that's typical of a mouse, you think. So she's a mouse. When they pull out a knife, you pray that isn't a child at all. And when they lift the rat's arm to glide their blade down it, you pray that it's a sadistic adult acting alone. Because if they were a lone murderer in this jungle, that gives you the greatest chance of the escape. If it's a child acting within a group, not only do you have no chance, but it's also horrific and heartbreaking and bleak. As the blood drains from the rat who doesn't deserve this, you swallow, dizzy, and try your best to remain calm. Does she know you're awake? Oh yeah, okay, so she does. Ask who they are? I'll ask who you are first. Actually, you should probably stop that. Now that I think about it, like, I kind of hate the rat too. I'm gonna assume that he's the one who lied about his credentials, because he was like the... We kind of skimmed over him. We kind of skimmed over him when we described the witch first. So let's say stop. Let's say stop. You shouldn't cut people like that. He'll die. No duh. You're able to stay it firmly, but the mouse ignores you. Let me go, please. I'm just a researcher. I won't report this. I'll never return here. Please, I'll do anything. Of course they can't understand you. That's what the translator was for. But he's not waking up now. Nope, you're a translator. Okay. The mouse pulls a cloth from their pocket to wipe the knife. Once it's clean, they look good to you for a long moment. You think desperately how you can convey to them that you mean no harm, and that you only want to go home. But instead, the nausea you've been staving off comes to a head, thanks to the inescapable smell of your colleague's blood. You lean forward and vomit helplessly onto the floor. It flows towards a drain after all. The ground must be slightly slanted here. The three of you were placed in this room in such a way that your blood, vomit, and other bodily excretions would go right down the drain. They planned for you to bleed for them. They brought you here for the purpose of being drained. And now, you only feel more sick. The mouse kneels down in front of you. Their rubber rain boots squeak lightly as they move. And when you look up at their face, the mask, they bring the soiled cloth to the sides of your mouth, dabbing the mess away. You'd almost believe it if it was a small kindness, if not for the faint taste of blood in your lips. The mouse seems to study your face for a moment, but you can only stare back in stunned silence. What use are words if this mouse can't seem to understand you anyway? They stand, then open the door to leave. You hang your head in despair of your situation. Hits you in a wave. You sit there sobbing in the darkness as you listen to the slow drip of the drain in front of you. Day 2. Oh, jeez. They're just leaving us here. The witch beside you still hasn't woken up. Pete is much older than you, with a weaker constitution. As a witch, you expected she would be a little sturdier, but apparently not. No, she built all int. She didn't do any strength or vitality, sorry. Being able to use magic doesn't guarantee protection from poison. Her specialty lies in photography, not medicine. She isn't wounded, though, at least in not any obvious way. It isn't her blood that stains the floor where you sit. The only one the mouse seems to have cut into so far is the rat, Moss. Think about the rich, think about the rat, think of a way out, actually. I think we should. You need to think of a way out. It's probably too late for Moss, but if you could just untie yourself and Pete. The ropes refuse to loosen themselves no matter which direction you bend your torso. Without something sharp to cut through these fibers, you'll be stuck like this. You lean your full weight onto Pete again, as you've continued to do throughout the night. Pete, please, wake up. You hate having to face this alone. Even if the witch were to only offer unpleasant remarks, at this point you'd accept them with full gratitude. The doors open again for the first time since yesterday, oh no. The sudden sound of heavy rain causes you to jolt, but you remain frozen, lying against Pete's shoulder. The mouse is here again. It's the same, or is it the same one as before? Judging by their stature, you imagine it must be. They walk past you and over to Moss. They pull out the knife again. Why do you hate Moss? Why do you hate Moss? You can't bring yourself to watch this time. You only wish you could cover your ears. That way, you wouldn't have to hear the sounds of flesh and muscle parting, of his blood pouring out from the severed veins and splattering loudly onto the floor. Why are you doing this? Please. You cry, because you can't think of anything else to do. You can't just sit and wait for your turn to be played. But you can't move, and the mouse won't listen to you, so you sit there, whimpering, until you hear a loud thud. You finally open your eyes to see Moss's corpse, a misshapen lump on the floor. Jeez! Jeez! Even in the slow light, you can tell what was once human skin has become coarse fur. A quirk of animal folk. They return to their bestial form upon death. Having forgotten that, you realize you must have been alive and unconscious until now. You panic! Panic! One more save. let's remain calm for now, actually. Your mind is racing, but you shut every single one of those thoughts out in order to survive. Moss is dead, but your position is unchanged. You have to escape. The mouse begins dragging their larger rat's body across the room, inch by inch. You're breathing hard but as you watch this tiny mouse struggle to move the heavy corpse, you feel almost bad for them. That's when you finally think of something that you can do. You can jump them. You can jump. I give you full permission. Hey, untie me. The mouse stays focused on their task. What? Don't try to speak with it. He's heavy, right? Untie me and I can help you move the body. You almost can't believe what you're saying. Your shaky breath steadies the more you talk. It's so sad watching you try and move him alone. Please, can I help you? The mouse stops to look at you. Okay, maybe they did hear. Maybe they did hear. Their masked face sends a chill down your spine. You worry that being able to read their expression would feel worse. But you have their attention. You have to commit to this now. Where are you moving him? I can help you. I promise I'll help. But I can do that if you only untie me. And you can tie me up again afterwards. Of course, I'll cooperate, please. I just want to help. The mouse steps over the rat's bodies and kneels in front of you, the same as they did when you and you vomited yesterday. I'm not supposed to talk to you. Your eyes light up. She can understand you after all. Her voice sounds young and feminine. This is a child being forced to do horrible things by some monster. We don't have any confirmation of that, actually. Don't go off trailing on. You can talk to her into releasing you. You have to. It's your only path forward. I won't talk. I'll just lift. It's just so sad watching you. I can't bear it. She draws her knife, and for a moment you think she's about to silence you for good. But instead, she cuts through a piece of rope. I'd like to move this to the table. You do as the mouse commands. Really? You're not... What animal are you? I'm just wondering. If you're not attacking the mouse. You said the mouse was small before, too. Pete woke up last night. You filled her in on everything that's happened. Moss's death, your masked captor... Wait, did you just get tied up again? Sorry. Anyways, I'm just gonna suspend my belief and, continue with the story. You left out the part where you convinced the mouse to untie you. You pretend she didn't say a word to you. You hadn't said anything more to her either, and even let her tie you up again at the end, as promised. Pete would only scorn you for not putting up more of a fight if she knew. Yeah, I'm scorning you too. I'm scorning you too. Although she's still rather delirious and weak, she ate the largest share of the berries, now that you think of it. You don't know how much she'll fight back, or if she'll be able to help you at all. Think about what happened to Moss. We should probably talk to Pete now that she's awake. Pete, are you still awake? Yes. The level of annoyance in her voice is far higher than usual. You imagine she's in a lot of pain. We should try to come up with a solid escape plan, don't you think? That's what I've been thinking of ever since waking up. Do not interrupt me again if you want to live. It doesn't seem like she's willing to coordinate with you. That's fine. It's exactly what you've already set... it's exactly why you've already set up your own plan in motion. You can't depend on each other. But escaping together, if at all possible, would be ideal. You don't like her, but leaving the switch behind would haunt you for the rest of your life. You're sure Moss's death will too. Think about what happened to Moss? I'll think about what happened to Moss, sure. You can't get the images of what happened to the mouse yesterday, you can't get the images of what that mouse did yesterday out of your head. After hoisting Moss's corpse onto the table, she thanked you before tying you up again. And then she went to work dismembering the corpse. Completely terrified, you tried to keep your eyes on the floor, but that didn't save you from the slapping sounds of meat chunks being stacked high into a pile. A rat was butchered meters away from you where you sat. She cut his flesh for hours on end, and you sat there and watched. You watched and you wondered who taught this child her technique. You wondered how many bodies she's done this to, how many people she calmly sliced into unrecognizable chunks before now. To what end was Moss flayed? And which one of you was next on the chopping block? You watched, thinking hard about these things until the mouse finished her work and carried those pails full of meat out of the room. You wish you could do something to put a stop to all this. Let's think about what to do next then. Your ropes aren't as tight as they were before. Sorry. What? What? Wait, what? Why is Overwatch playing? Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. It seemed that I had Twitter open in like one of my other monitors. Anyways, we're gonna act like that never happened and that the play of the game never even occurred. But anyways, your ropes aren't as tight as they were before. You've tried squirming around again, but you haven't gotten them to budge. Still, they're a little less uncomfortable. Your muscles are stiff from being stuck in one position on the floor. You wonder if the mouse would be willing to leave you untied in this room. The door is locked anyway. You need to earn more of their trust, at the very least. You'd rather Pete be the one to be drained next. That's kind of, you know what? It's not you. You know what? You're acting under like self-preservation. So you know what? I'm gonna give you a dismiss, but I'm not gonna say you're right for that. The door opens and the mouse enters the room. Let us go. We can pay. Do you understand? Pete speaks quickly in a demeaning tone, but the mouse ignores her, as expected. What is it you want? Food? Wealth? I won't be made into a ritual sacrifice. We can make this worth your while. The mouse kneels down before the witch and holds the knife to her skin. Pete fails in a panic, knocking the knife out from her hands. It slides across the floor toward the drain, but it doesn't fall in. Oops. The mouse calmly collects her knife. You're silent, thinking desperately of a way to delay her further. Loam told me all about how you butchered that rat. You collected his meat. For what? Is she gonna tell her now? Are you cannibals? Or do you toss the remains into a pit to appease your god, you effing savages? She falls over where once sat, flailing dangerously again at as the mouse takes slow steps towards her. An idea comes to mind. Offer to help. Offer to help Pete or the mouse? It's the only offer there, though. You swallow hard before asking. Would you like some help again? Pete stops failing at once. You can feel both of them staring at you, but the eyes are fixed on your captor's mask. The mouse nods. Okay. Why is he doing this? Pete refuses to speak to you. If I'm being completely honest, that's completely understandable. You tried to explain that you only held her down like that as part of your ploy to earn the mouse's trust. That doesn't make it right. You didn't even tell her that ploy. You didn't tell her about that. And you got results. You convinced her that she didn't need to trouble herself with tying ropes around your whole body. So today, it's just your hands that are tied. You've been able to pace about the room, which feels much better than sitting on the hard floor. Your odds of survival are slowly increasing. You don't worry about Pete's blood spilling down the drain. She's weakened, but still alive. The cut was far from fatal. Yeah, but what's gonna happen today? Talk to Pete, search your room. I don't think she wants to talk. I'm just gonna press the button. You didn't need to call them savages, you know. You didn't need to hold her down. He gives you a silent glare. It's offensive. If they were city mice, you'd call them murderers, right? So just say murderers. Okay, something tells me we don't have the proper amount of screws in our head, if you know what I mean. Loam. Is that her name? You are, for once, relieved to hear her voice. Yes, it is her name. I don't need your lecture on political correctness when I am bleeding out because of you. You purse your lips. Sorry. Search your room, then. Though you can't do much with your hands tied behind your back, you're able to confirm a few things about this room. 1, there's no way out. The door is locked. The small window in the upper center of it was barred, and there doesn't seem to be any other exit. 2, the pile of things on the table does indeed contain your belongings. You thought as much as on the first day you woke up here, and you're happy to learn that they weren't thrown out or being stored somewhere you wouldn't be able to recover them. You weren't able to open your bag on your own. You're too afraid to move anything too far out of its place anyway. If only your hands were untied, you could dig through the belongings to find something sharp to use as, well, a means of escape. either to untie Pete or as a weapon. You hopefully wouldn't have to use on a living person. Alright, let's think of what to do next then. You rack your brain, trying to figure out your next move, but it's hard to think on an empty stomach. You've been running on adrenaline these past few days, and your nerves are completely shot. You were, at the very least, given some water yesterday, both you and Pete. They seem to want you to keep you alive a little longer, but you aren't exactly sure why, or for how long. Maybe you'll get some answers today. You decide to make that your goal. You didn't think of that like any of the other days? Like literally even yesterday? The little mouse returns. You move back to your place next to Pete in a show of cooperation. When she kneels down and draws her knife, Pete interjects with a level composure you've shocked to hear from someone crumpled, bound, and bleeding on the floor. Mouse, you should be cutting him instead. Kind of agreed, honestly. You almost can't believe your ears. How does she expect to have any chance at escaping if we're both weak from blood loss? Why me? The mouse pauses to hear out. You want to cry. He's trying to trick you. He's gaining your trust little at a time before taking that knife from you and... Yeah! You are almost relieved when the little mouse brings the blade down and pierces her flesh. You feel awful about it, but it spares you another day. Can I ask you a question? The mouse cleans the blade against the cloth as she always does. We're not supposed to talk. I just wanted to know your name. Hearing her call you Mouse, I felt sad that I didn't know your name. She tilts her head at you as Pete continuously mutters swears under her breath. You're still alive? Okay, you survived 2 days. That's like more than Moss. I should introduce myself first, shouldn't I? My name is Loam. Loam. I'm sorry, I don't have a name I can share. She stands to leave. Is there something I can call you? Something other than Mouse? Pete moans in agony, but you don't let her distract you. You need to keep building trust, or else you'll both be killed. The mouse stares at you for a long while before turning away. I don't know. She opens the door, letting in the roar of heavy rainfall. I'll think of something for you. You yell after her as the door closes. I hope she thinks about it too. Nah, you're cooked. You're cooked tomorrow. You're cooked tomorrow. Okay, Pete is not going to survive like 2 days in a row. Pete isn't speaking to you again, probably because she's dead. But this time, it's because hasn't seemed to regain consciousness. Okay, yeah, okay. Her body is alarmingly cold, but you think she still has a pulse. She isn't dead just yet. But you don't think you'll be able to escape with her anymore. You weren't counting on it to begin with, but it would have been nice to not be alone. You sigh. Your stomach's tearing itself apart with hunger. Talk to Pete. You know. You address the unconscious wish, well aware that she won't respond. I think you're more guilty from where we've ended up. I've only been making the best of a bad situation. I'm sorry, Loam. Like, you have the gall to say that. I'm just actually flabbergasted. You understand that, right? I'm not some monster who wished for you to die, but you directly caused it. Her silence pains you, so you try to put her out of your mind. Stretch your legs. You begin pacing around the room. You can't let your muscles atrophy before you can make a run for it. There isn't much space to walk around though, and the more you move, the hungrier you feel. You look down at Pete, her eyes still closed. She almost looks peaceful. Talk about names, or think about names. A name for a faceless mouse. No, she isn't faceless, only masked. The groups she's working for, the one that tells her not to talk to you, the one keeping her nameless and anonymized. That group is keeping her personhood from her. By giving her a name, you can work towards removing that mask, if you're still alive, of course. The door opens again. Each time it does, you brace yourself for a new mouse, a stranger to walk through the door. You brace yourself for your strategy to be completely overturned, for your progress to be reset, and to feel overcome with despair as the stranger drives their blade deep into your flesh, to be cut into pieces, bones discarded and carried out in metal pails just like moss. But you can tell it's her again today. The mouse who will help you escape from this place. Her hood and boots are drenched with rain. She doesn't bother to shake any of it off. Instead, she looks right at you and makes a small sound, like she's smiling under that mask. It's how you want to be greeted, so it's what you imagine that would sound must have meant. You smile back. Forgive me for speaking, but I've been thinking of what to call you. I don't know what kinds of things you like, so, I mean, if I give you a name, I think it should be something you like. So what do you... I do have a name. Oh? You pause, blinking twice. Yesterday you didn't say... You said you didn't, so I... I'm sorry to have jumped to conclusions. The mouse kneels down in front of Pete and draws her knife. You can share it. We're all given sacred names by the highest power. Oh, so you're part of a cult. She makes her incision. You don't watch the blood leak from Pete's arm. You can only look at the mask. We're not supposed to share our sacred names, but I think it's okay if I tell you what my name means. Yeah, because I'm gonna be cooked in like literally 2 days. And then you can call me something based on that. Does that work? She's making concessions to you. You're compromising. It's something small and trivial, but she's willing to negotiate with you, which means you still have a chance of negotiating your freedom. What does your sacred name mean? Water from the heavens, where the highest power lies, or lives. I'm proud of my name, so if you call me something like that, I'll be happy. She wipes her knife. Pete is still. Think of a name. Trying to think feels like wading through the deep pit of mud, but you finally land on something. Little Raindrop. The mouse doesn't react, so you rush to explain. It's not a name, but a term of endearment, like sweetheart or pumpkin. Okay, dude, chill. Pumpkin? My grandmother used to call me that back when I was a little tyke. You don't think about the ways Pete reminds you of your late grandmother. How old are you, little Raindrop? She thinks for a moment. 16. Too young. What do you mean too young? Wait, no, sorry. I'm brain rotted. The internet has corroded my brain. She's far too young to be taking lives like this. Though you realize it's likely because you're so young that this group has been able to mold her into a killer. The mouse turns her attention back to the young witch, lying still on the floor beside you. It's hard to tell when a witch is hard to stop beating. Can you help me again? Don't tell me to chop up the body. Don't do that. You swallow hard and turn your head, finally face what's become of Pete. Sure. Day 6. Did you chop the body? Did you go full butcher vanity? Did you... Man... Loam. You sit on the blood-soaked floor with ropes tied loosely around your body, though not so loose that you could shuffle your way out of them. The other mice had apparently scolded Little Raindrop for leaving you so unbound. It wasn't proper. She told you the highest power would be displeased, and that she had no other choice but to tie you up like before. Your eyelids are heavy. You feel hollow. Somehow you've ended up making negative progress. Today you're all alone. Think about what happened yesterday. After confirming Pete's death, after you laid your head on her chest, remembering the first time you heard her faint heartbeat despite the pounding of your own, you listened for that sound as hard as you could. But it wasn't there. You felt like your heart might stop too. Instead, it continued beating, this pulsing inside your ribcage that you usually never pay any mind to. You curse it for its diligence. Pete's body was dissected the same as Moss's, but you didn't only watch this time, yet you partook in it. The little Raindrop chattered to you as she went about her business. The conversation took your mind off things she asked you to do. Her commands you obeyed without much hesitation. You're out of your mind. You've been out of your mind. But everything you've been doing, all your efforts, everything you've done is in order for you to escape and survive this ordeal. You have to survive this. Try to free yourself. You squirm lazily in the place of the floor, but the ropes didn't give an inch. You want to cry, but you're already dehydrated. You want to go home, but you can't leave this room. You want to die, but if only it will be painless. You don't want to bleed like Moss and Pete did. You don't want to be reduced to chunks of meat and forgotten. It's late when the mouse arrives. So late you almost believe she wouldn't come today. Your raindrop. Hello. The candlelight reflects off the mask, a terrifying figure. You smile weakly. I'm here because I was able to sneak away with some leftovers. Food? She brought you food. She's still on your side. Your little raindrop from the heavens. She came here because she didn't want you to starve. That's definitely poisoned. I'm like 90% sure that's poisoned. Is it really okay to be giving me food? I hope you've been eating your fill. She kneels down in front of you, presenting a bowl of stew. We're having 3 feasts in a row, so I don't mind sharing some. What do you mean 3? 1 for each body? And the next is mine, isn't it? Thank you, little raindrop. Don't eat that. That's even worse than poison. That's just cannibalism. That's your friends. Well, colleagues. Another sound comes from behind the mask, as if she's smiling at you again. You want to believe that. I can't untie you, so I'll feed you myself. She holds up a spoonful of dark stew. Dark stew? That's not meat. Your eyes linger on the chunks of meat. That's blood. That's blood and meat. It's Pete. Pete isn't there. Alright, let's eat Pete. You're just... ... You're doing what you have to, in order to survive. It would be all meaningless if you were to die here like this. That's why you have to do whatever it takes. Day 11. For 5 days, your little raindrop came to visit and made small horizontal incisions across your wrists. They bled as you chatted with her. You continued to chat in order to take your mind off the pain. You think you're probably going to hell. Oh, you're definitely going to hell. Absolutely. There are all sorts of conceptions of hell in the cultures you've studied, be they cold, fiery, a transient purgatory, or a realm of eternal punishment. You weren't sure you believed in hell before now, but being faced with your imminent death, you want to believe there must be some kind of afterlife. You can't imagine whatever's next would be a peaceful paradise with your family, your ancestors happily waiting there for you. Surely some kind of retribution is coming for a coward like yourself. Oh, absolutely. What's being done to you now? It isn't enough. The blood coagulates, the wounds scab over, the fresh incision is made. Maybe the only part of you that will ever escape this place is what's already flowed down that drain. But each time the door opens, a little seed of hope is planted. She's here again. She smiles to greet you. No mask? Talk about your journal. What journal? It's over, bro. Bro, there is no more journal. You're cooked. You're not making it out of here alive. The little raindrop asks you to tell her another story from your journal. You carry it with you on all your adventures, a record full of notes on ancient civilizations, things you've learned from various tribes in the region, and little things about their ways of life that have fascinated you. And anthropology is a broad subject. There's so many exciting things to learn. You've shared some of the things with this mouse, who seems to match your excitement and interest in the wider world. She's never left this village, so it's no surprise she would feel that way. When you finish your story, she seems no closer to releasing you. You can feel your stories sway her heart, but still, she does not budge. I'll talk about my field of study. Hello, you're a little bit close today. You explain to the little raindrop that you've traveled here on a research expedition. When she asked about your purpose of your research, you realized Pete's photography would communicate it most clearly, so you had her dig into the witch's backpack to uncover her photo book. Pete was an unpleasant person to be around, but her talents were unmatched. Seeing her photography again brings you to tears. You have to stop looking. The ropes around your body might be the only thing holding you together. Ask to be released. That's a funny joke. That's not happening, brother. I'm sorry. You've tried to lead the conversation towards your escape many times. You even offered to take little Raindrop with you to show her the world. But there's only so hard you can push. The other mice tell her that the outside world is full of dangers. You try to show her that it is instead full of wonders. Ironically, it is your wanderlust that have landed you in danger. But that doesn't have to be true for this mouse. She doesn't have the courage to flee. and you fear you no longer have the strength, so you admit defeat. Stop talking for today. Oh, he's cooked. Oh, he's so cooked. He is unbelievably cooked. He's over. He's over. He's over. Another day goes by, bleeding and talking late into the night. The little raindrop yawns, then carefully picks up her candle. I better go to bed. You don't want her to leave. You don't want to be left alone another night in this dark, horrible, blood-stained room. Good night, Loam. See you tomorrow. You offer a weak good night and close your eyes. You don't know how much longer you'll last. I mean, you're gonna last until tomorrow at least. She said tomorrow, right? Maybe not after that, but like tomorrow at least. Day 13. You're feeling more lucid today. The hopelessness has left you. You think it's probably your body's last hurrah. Your grandma was like that too. The day she passed, you wonder if dying bodies can feel their expiration date coming on. You thought you'd be scared, but really, you've spent these past 2 weeks in total fear. You're overdue for a sense of peace. Okay, I'm ready. For what? What are you ready for? He raises the knife to your arm and waits for your approval. She'll be forced to reopen an older wound, with how many cuts have been left there. Why does it fall on you to signal to go ahead? It's made this whole thing feel like a slow suicide. It's enough to make you laugh, but the corners of your mouth only curl slightly at the thought of before relaxing into place. In the end, you do give her the nod, and she cuts, and you bleed. You're so cold, but you haven't even the energy to shiver. You wish she'd brought a blanket, but you can't ask for that now. You don't want to open your eyes again. You thought for a moment that you didn't want to, but... Little Raindrop? Could you take off your mask? She hesitates. My mask? Why? I've never seen your face. I'd like to see it once before it's too late. Okay. Hello. You stare at her for a moment. In this light, you were almost unsure. But there really is a person under there, not some monster. You worried you might be only fooling yourself, believing that she was a victim just like you. She was still a child whose view of the world has been warped in such a way that brings harm to others. She can't see the damages she's done. She hasn't had the chance to comprehend it before being put into this situation. Such beautiful round eyes. Your eyes are nice too. You're able to muster a real laugh this time. You have to say more than that. Listen, little Raindrop. Once you prepare my body for the feast, we won't be able to talk anymore. That's okay. The feast is what's important. It's a great honor to be offered up to the highest power. You were chosen. There wasn't enough time. You couldn't get through to her. There was never going to be a way to untangle those immoral beliefs of hers overnight. But if you leave it like this, she may never break free from them. You use all what's left of your strength to lead forward, letting your head fall in her lap. Please learn everything you can about this world, little Raindrop. This highest power of yours isn't the only power that exists. It isn't the only way. She doesn't say anything. You continue. I'm sorry. I've only ever said things that must sound like sacrilege to you, but I hope you can understand it one day. Come to understand it and escape from this place. That is my wish for you. You close your eyes again. You pray every power you can think of to please let this mouse escape. Part 1. End? Part 1 end. Huh? After the feast that day, I thought the highest power wouldn't be passing down any more blessings for a while. 3 at once had been a lot of work. I had only ever managed 2 at a time before. I thought that maybe the highest power was pleased with how well it went, and that's why it sent us a 4th. A 4th? I hope this new offering was as nice as you were. If so, I'd like to go slow draining method again. The slow draining method again. Oh, so you're preparing them like meat. I knew I wasn't supposed to talk to them. Meals are... Wait, this is a girl. This is the young girl. Wait. Meals are meant to be eaten, not spoken with. That's the rule. But the monkey was wide awake when I came in to start the draining ritual, and I wanted to see if it was nice a person like you, Loam. I had a lot of fun talking to you. So I wondered if other outsiders would share their stories with me like you did. That's not gonna happen. She said she was a member of a search party that was sent out to look for a group of researchers who disappeared into the rainforest a month ago. A witch called Pete, a local rat who was hired as their guide, and the leader of the expedition, an anthropologist. Loam! I was happy to hear someone else say your name. I was happy to be able to talk with someone who knew about you, because I couldn't explain all the stuff to any of my brothers without getting in trouble. When I told the monkey that you and the others were already offered up to the highest power for the feast, and that she didn't need to look for you anymore, she got really upset. Outsiders have such trouble accepting the highest power's will, they can't comprehend the honor of being bestowed on them. She struggled a lot, and I wasn't able to use the nice because of that. I'm the only one assigned to the dining preparation house right now, so it's up to me to carry out the ritual. I had come back later that night when she was calmed down. Things proceeded normally after that. I didn't try talking to her again. Think about Loam. That's me? Wait, I was a human? I wish you'd stop cutting me. Your words made me hesitate back then. You were always doing me favors, so for a moment, I wanted to do as you asked. I shook my head. I have to do it. Who's telling you that you have to do this, little raindrop? Well, it's in preparation for the feast I have to follow in the steps. Even if what you're doing is wrong. You kept saying things like that, and I didn't know how it made me feel, so I rejected it. It isn't wrong, I'm just doing it properly. I wiped the knife clean, and when I looked back at you, you had such a sad expression. Killing people, cutting them up like this, it's always wrong. There's no justification that could ever make it right. Do you know why? I knew I couldn't trust anything outsiders had to say, but I was curious to hear your reasons, so I asked. Why? Because life is precious. Each one of us is given only one life, and when it ends, that person is gone forever. It's a loss you can never get back, not even with magic. That's why you mustn't do things that end others' lives. It's wrong, because it takes something away from this world that can never be returned. I tilted my head in thought. But you helped me before. Unless that doesn't count. She's right. Yeah, she's right. After that, you went quiet. You didn't look at me anymore. I wonder why. Once the draining ritual was finished, it was time to get the monkey's body ready for the feast. I had trouble moving it as usual, and I wanted to ask for help, but dining preparation is my responsibility, so my brothers aren't allowed to enter the house. I try to move the bodies even though they're heavy, because it's easier to work on the table. I've been doing this since I was 13, so I have a system. Usually I'll move them pieces at a time, but it's messy to do the cutting on the floor, so I end up doing bigger pieces. When you offered to help, I thought it was lucky because you would save me a lot of time and energy. Let me focus on the next step, and it let me focus on the next step, and I even felt refreshed by the end of it. Mercy from the highest power, who knew that I had 3 feasts help to prepare. But you're not here anymore. I wouldn't have to have any help when I had to move you, and when I realized that, I felt a little bit sad. Every offering from then on, I'd have to go back to moving all on my own. Thinking of it as another trial from the highest power sort of helped me ease my mind, though. After finishing my work, I stood outside in the rain and gazed up at the sky. No one would call me Little Raindrop anymore. I kept thinking about things like that, and remembered when you told me about how each life was precious. But there wasn't any way around it. You were an offering sent by the highest power. I couldn't have let you go. ... During the next feast, I felt kind of sick, so I couldn't eat very much. I prayed to the highest power, hoping it would send me some kind of sign and clear my doubts, but I don't think it heard my prayer. My brothers encouraged me to keep praying, and told me I would feel better soon, so that's what I did. Stop praying. The next time an offering was sent, I couldn't bring myself to drive the knife into their body. I've been reading your journal a lot, and kept thinking about everything you wrote in there. We aren't supposed to read books that the highest power doesn't approve of, but I figured a handwritten journal doesn't really count as a book, so it's okay. But the more I read, I just felt so sad that I couldn't ask you to explain things to me, because you were gone. I felt sad that I was already starting to forget the things you did explain. The stories you told me weren't written in the journal. And since I felt stuck and couldn't do my work like I usual, I ended up untying the ropes. Oh no. I unlocked the door for them and they ran outside right away. The others caught them, of course, and they were brought back and tied up again. You really dropped the ball this time. The highest power wouldn't have been so unhappy with us if we'd lost the offering. I nodded, feeling ashamed. Well, no harm done. The feast must go on. They patted me on the back with words of encouragement, but I knew I would have to return to my work after that. I knew I was going to have to take another life. Not feeling well today. Do you think someone else could do this in my place? You've been saying that a lot lately, but we're all busy with our own tasks. If you aren't feeling well today, then don't push yourself. Come back at it tomorrow. I'm sure you'll be blessed with a speedy recovery in order to get the job done in time for the feast, brother. We're all counting on you. Okay, I'll rest for the day. I feel guilty for slacking off whenever everyone else was working so hard. I'd always been pretty diligent, because the highest power smiles upon diligent mice the most. I wanted to be smiled upon. I started to think that the reason I was feeling bad was because I kept bending the rules, but what was I doing so wrong? I knew I shouldn't have let the offering go. It was like I was rejecting the highest power's divine will. But when I thought about going through the whole preparation process again, I wanted to run away from it. Follow that feeling. Oh, so it seems like Loam actually changed something. I mentioned I'd been reading your journal a lot, but actually, I've been writing in it too. There were a lot of blank pages left over. I hope you don't mind me using them. You didn't get a chance to write anything about my village, so I thought I'd write about what life is like here instead. Each of us has a job to do. Farm work, cooking, laundry, the highest power assigns us a sacred task, and the village will prosper as long as those tasks are fulfilled. We wear the same clothes, eat the same things, share the same beds, and put on the same mask. Our masks are a symbol of the highest power. We wear them to reflect its image, so that it knows we are its servants. Questioning the highest power is dangerous, because it means we could lose its protection. I want our village to be protected, so I wasn't able to question it before. But your writing and your stories, you help me look at things a new way. If outsiders don't have the protection of the highest power, then how do all those thriving cities you told me about really exist? Is it possible to have a good life while abandoning our sacred tasks? I was too afraid to find out, so I picked up the knife and did what I was supposed to do. I don't think I ever told you this, but someone else was assigned to do this task before me, an older brother. He was killed, and the offering escaped. I was the one the highest power chose to replace him. It was hard work, but I was happy to have a purpose. I was happy to have been chosen back then. But now... I think you were right, that all life is precious. You're gone and you'll never be able to come back. And it wasn't just you. How much has been lost from this world with every feast? I started to feel worse and worse thinking about the part in it, or my part in it. I stopped eating the meat, but I couldn't get it out of my fulfilling my task. Unless I were to go somewhere outside the highest power's reach. One night, I cut a hole in the chain link fence and stepped outside the village for the first time. I looked up past the thick canopy, to the vast, starry sky and felt so small. I thought about the scary stories I'd been told, what happens to mice in the outside world. If I continued beyond that fence, I'd be entering the realm of dangerous predators who would eat a mouse without a second thought. Maybe that's why my village became what it is, a place where, instead, mice were the ones who feasted on others. All the while, under the protection of the highest power. I stood under the stars for a long time, to see if I'd be able to endure it. And then I retreated back into the safety of my village. Think about Loam. Loam. Why won't you listen to me? It was the first and only time you'd ever raised your voice at me. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I'm not doing well, so I shouldn't take it out on you. It isn't your fault. I just really want to go home. You have to stay for the feast. You buried your face in your knees and let out a muffled scream. That scream became sobs, then whimpers. I'm sorry. It's so hard not to break down. I was surprised by the way your voice cracked as you spoke. You were making a lot of noises I didn't expect from you. So not knowing what else to do, I tried reaching out and patting your shoulder. There, there. ... My words worked like a charm. You stopped whimpering. Except... I understand it now. It wasn't acceptance, it was resignation. You felt resigned to your fate. It was painful, having to die, but you knew you couldn't avoid it. So I endured the pain as best as you could. Or so you endured the pain as best as you could. Up to the very end. That's what I'm doing now, so... I understand, Loam. 2 years later. I thought about leaving for so long. What always stopped me was I still felt like I didn't know anything about the outside world. If I really ran away, where would I sleep? What would I eat? Would anyone protect me? I collected all the information I could. I talked to so many outsiders over the past 2 years. And when I could get away with it, I'd bring them to the hole I made in the fence and push them through. I turned away more and more of these so-called offerings from the highest power, but I was never punished for it. I don't think the highest power really cares anymore, if it ever did to begin with. Something new that occurred to me was, living meant I wouldn't be able to... Wait, what? Leaving meant I wouldn't be able to help anyone else escape. Both the outsiders that get drawn in for the feasts, and my brothers. My sacred task would be reassigned to the next available mouse. But I realized that if worrying about that, I'd be trapped here, continuing to take the lives of others until the day I died. You didn't want that for me, did you, Loam? This way, quickly. You're not a rat. You're like some kind of wolf. The last person I helped escape was a wolf. Oh wait, you're not- No, don't be Timber! Please don't be Timber! I never met a wolf before. Their smile, filled with a kindness, reminded me of yours. That's a... No, you should... It's not often that people give someone like me a warm welcome. It was nice while it lasted. I couldn't tell if they understood what a feast was. They seemed pretty naive, but here they were, traveling the world despite that. You've been to many places, haven't you? I've always thought about going far away, but I've been too scared. Although if someone like you managed to survive, I could probably... Someone like me? Am I getting picked on? Sorry, thanks. Because of you, I feel like I can go far too. I gathered my courage for a while I waited for nightfall. With a small bag of supplies and your journal in hand, I faced the same exit that I'd pushed so many outsiders through. I still felt uncertain, but it was time. Escape! Yippee! Let me say, I have a feeling this is not going to end well. I slipped past the fence as quietly as I could, and made my way into the rainforest. I used my map that you had tucked away inside your journal. My village wasn't marked on there. I knew I'd be able to find my way. I'll travel far, far away from this place, and meet all sorts of people, and learn all sorts of new, wonderful things. I'll record everything. I can in this journal for you, and I won't have to hurt anyone ever again. I'll be an outsider, too, from now on. I discarded my mask and ran as fast as I could, and thought about what name I'll be asked to be called on. Asked to be called from now on. A game from Nanami Nami. Aww, it's an adorable story of a little murder. Oh, she escaped the village and she's out. And the wolf is here. And I don't think that's Timber. I'm like 90% sure that's not Timber. Yippee. Don't ask about Timber lore. We don't talk about Timber lore. Okay? Also, here, let me move my head out of the way. I like giving credit where credit's due. You know what I mean? Patreon support is very good. More Patreon support. Oh, wait a second. You're the person from You're from Syrup, aren't you? Made with Renpai, of course. The visual novel. The visual novel game maker. Oh, she's adorable. She murdered like literally 3 people. And maybe more than... Probably more than that, actually, now that I think about it. But, she's adorable. Thank you for playing. Anyways, that was Escape from Wormwood. I'm gonna click on the extras tab because I like looking at the extras. Cult Survivor 16, Naishi, Masteries in Wormwood. Trick. Okay, your name is Trick. Understood. Understood. we don't talk about the other one. We don't talk about the other one, okay? Moss. Da, 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 lively and charismatic, not anymore. It's adorable. The art is always so good in their games. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. That's not even like a thing to be apologizing for. It's just so good. It's how that's so over. Loam is so done with this. Hey Loam, will you help me with the commentary for this section? Commentary? We have to commentate this? Wait, is there more? This was the original drawing of Loam. At least untie-me. Oh, that one was. Okay. And this is what his clothes look like. I don't normally wear these. It was just for the expedition. There isn't any hard concept art for the others, but there is an old drawing of me here. You look so cute, little raindrop. Thanks. You look... No, you don't have to return a compliment. I only know how scruffy I am. Your beard keeps getting longer and longer. Release me now so I can shave. You can see the hope out of his eyes. You can literally see the hope out of his eyes over here. I love it. Assemble, brothers. Now is the hour. Oh, this is the epilogue. Okay. Assemble, brothers. Now is the hour of roll call. Brother, here. Brother, here. Brother, here. Brother, dot 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 dot. Brother, I regret to inform you. One of our dear brothers has lost their way, and has yet to return to us. But which one? Speak if you have any information. One afternoon of sleuthing later. I see. So there is no one to take care of the dining preparation. Should be an offering coming our way. Won't the highest power be disappointed in us if we are unable to hold the feast in its honor? O highest power, should our brother never return, we ask that you reassign the sacred task to another. I do not want to do that. Turn. I mean, wasn't our dear missing brother constantly suffering from unexplained illnesses? Their task seems hard. Come to think of it, more and more of the offerings have managed to disappear in recent years. Yes, how difficult that task must have been. Yeah, I don't really want to be responsible for doing it either. Then shall we search for the jungle for our missing brother? That sounds hard to do. They didn't even search for you, little raindrop. That's kind of depressing. I didn't want them to, so I left a note. I guess they missed it, though. What did your note say? Please stop eating the offerings. Signed, the highest power. Would that have worked? I was able to suggest a lot of changes to our customs in the years since you were gone. Formally welcoming them into the village, being friendly with them before bringing them to the dining preparation house. If your customs were so flexible, couldn't you have suggested they cancel the feast before killing me? But everyone was looking forward to it. Well, if they stop because they can't find a replacement for me, then it's for the best. What part of this is for the best? The feasts were important to everyone. I couldn't always get around that. But they canceled it just because no one else wanted to put in the work. Little raindrop, do you understand? This means you could have released me at any time, yes? You sure are shouting a lot. I thought that everything you did was under threat of violent repercussions. Was there no cult leader coercing you to do all this? We were all equal under the eyes of the highest power. I'm sorry, Lo. Give me back my blood! All the blood I sacrificed, I want to live! Is there anything else like that? Nothing. Okay. Okay, fair enough. Developer notes. You know, I'll read that on my own. If you want to read it yourself, do play the game, or at least download the game. I have the game page over in the description, okay? I want to read this on my own. But anyways, that was Escape from Wormwood. I love Nomi's games. They're so good. I love stories. I love their story. They're so good at writing. They're so good at. I love their stories, man. There's the art's super cute all the time. Oh my god, the sense of tension you get from this one in particular was really good. Battle Theater was the game that I first played, and I really liked that one as well. I actually saw Markiplier play it once, but then I fell asleep in the middle of it, so I just didn't finish the game I didn't watch any of the game, and actually bought the game myself so I could play it. And I actually only finished it a few months ago. It was really good. It was really good. No spoilers though, of course. But anyways, that was Escape from Wormwood. I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good morning, afternoon, and / or evening, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.